students from District 6. I just wanted to say welcome to them.
Welcome to the Judiciary Committee. I hope you're interested in Department of State Police Professional Occupations application process. Exciting bill you've come to watch, but they're about to make it so. So we're going to start with House Bill 1280 from Delegate Taylor. And I believe you have John Hickey on your panel with you.
I do.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Okay, Chair Moon and fellow members of the Judiciary Committee, hello. For the record, I'm Delegate Kim Taylor, representing District 23 in Prince George's County. HB 1280 is a simple bill, and I know you've heard that before, but it really is. HB 1280 authorizes the Secretary of the Maryland State Police to change the professional license application process for private detectives, security guards, security system technicians, and special police officers. Today, the application is a paper process, and the fees are paid by check. So, each applicant has to drive or mail their application and their check to the State Police Licensing Division. This legislation authorizes the Secretary to accept an application in an electronic format. It also authorizes the acceptance of electronic payments as opposed to the current check or money order payment. Once the conversion to electronic applications is completed, the applicant will receive all communication, including renewals, via email, making it easier and more efficient. And the electronic payment component will make collection, tracking, processing, and auditing of payments easier and more efficient. We have already approved this process. The General Assembly, let me say it again, has already approved this process for all other licensing department applications. This is the last phase of a multi-year automation project. Colleagues, help me bring the Maryland State Police into the 21st century by voting favorably for HB 1280. That wasn't a dig, it was just. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is First Sergeant John Hickey with the Maryland State Police Licensing Division. I want to thank you for this opportunity to testify before you. Delegate Taylor actually just said pretty much everything I was about to say, that this has been a years-long process, and the professional licensing unit is the last unit within licensing division that still relies on paper applications and paper payments as far as check or money order. This bill would actually get us in line with the way the firearms registration unit, the handgun qualification licensing unit, and the handgun permit unit process their application fees, and we hope to have our online portal for the professional licensing unit up and running by the end of this year. So I want to again thank you for having me here, and if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them.
Delegate Cardin.
Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing the bill. Thank you for your testimony. Just so what is the initial reason for the face-to-face communication or delivery? Was it because there wasn't background checks being done, or there's still background checks being done and whatever else is required? So
right, there's still background checks, of course. This was just all of the applications originally were paper applications, and then as the years went on, they were updated to an automation system. It pretty much fell in line with the priority of it. First was the firearms registration because that had a 7-day mandate, so it made it easier. Then it became the handgun qualification licenses because that had a 30-day mandate, and then handgun permits. There's no per se statutory mandate for us to process security guard applications. We do get them done within 90 days or less, but this is the final step. This unit just wasn't a priority per se to have everything automated, but in order for us to get everything in line with all the other units, then this is the final stage for it.
And clearly, though, this doesn't inhibit the ability to do the background check, which
No,
is really
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Delegate, and thank you, First Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
First Sergeant, you've touched on it a couple times, but I just want to confirm this. So when you say similar to the licensing portal, it'll not just be to process these, but they'll have their own account so they can continue to do this year to year, very similar to the firearms portal?
Right, it's exactly like that.
Thank you, that's what I thought.
All right, thank you very much. Doesn't look like there are any more questions,
Thank
and no opposition signed up. That's going to end the hearing on House Bill 1280. We're going to go to House Bill 1243 from Delegate Attar. And we have Sarah Meeke and one virtual, do we have one virtual witness? Yes, okay, Deborah Miller coming online. Whenever you're ready, Delegate Attar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. For the record, I'm Delegate Dahlia Attar, presenting House Bill 1243, Hate Crimes Grant Fund Establishment. This bill is to address the dramatic increase in hate crimes at our mosques, synagogues, churches, and other nonprofits and faith-based institutions. It establishes the Protecting Against Hate Crimes Grant Fund, a special fund administered by the Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Crime Prevention, Youth, and Victim Services, to make grants to nonprofit organizations, including faith-based organizations, to provide security enhancements to protect against hate crimes. For fiscal 2025 and each fiscal year thereafter, the governor must include in the annual budget bill an appropriation of $5 million to the fund. It's the sad reality that we must provide security like this at nonprofit organizations and faith-based institutions, but it is the reality. There's a significant amount of research put out by the FBI that goes into detail about the dramatic increase in hate crimes, and this bill is an effort to combat this increase and protect our citizens. I ask for a favorable report. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Vice Chair Moon and members of the committee. I'm Sarah Mirsky-Mickey. I'm the Deputy Director of the Baltimore Jewish Council, which represents the Associated Jewish Community Federation of Baltimore and all of its agencies. I'm here today in support of HB 1243. This bill is simply codifying what we've had in the budget since FY20 as budget language for the Protecting Against Religious Institutions Grants Funds. And, we're asking for a favorable report. It's been around, unfortunately, for 4 years already, and the need continues to grow. It's been a $5 million allocation for the past several years. As you guys know, I'm here a lot. The largest targets of hate crimes in Maryland are both the Jewish community and the Black community. So I'm just here for a favorable report. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Deborah Miller online. And you do need to unmute yourself.
Think I'd get better at that. Okay, good afternoon, Vice Chair Moon and members of the committee. I'm Deborah Miller, the Director of Maryland Government and Community Relations for the JCRC of Greater Washington. And for the record, I'm here testifying in support of House Bill 1243. For 85 years, the JCRC has served the interests of the Jewish community in Maryland, representing over 100 Jewish agencies, synagogues, and schools. And like my other panelists, I've been here many times for these bills, and unfortunately we have to be here. I wish I didn't have to testify before you today and that we didn't have to spend so much time dealing with anti-Semitism, racism, and other forms of bigotry and hatred, which has reached historic levels throughout the U.S. and here in Maryland. House Bill 1243, as you have heard, provides funding for nonprofits and faith-based organizations with additional assistance for security upgrades to protect against hate crimes, desperately needed resource in these worrying times. So we thank Governor Moore, who has included $5 million for the Protecting Against Hate Crimes Grant Program in his fiscal 24 budget proposal, and extend our thanks to Delegate Attar for sponsoring this important legislation, which simply codifies the $5 million annual appropriation for future budgets. Unfortunately, given these acts of anti-Semitism, which are on the rise, as we've heard locally and nationally, it's unconscionable to think that incidents of intolerance have become so normalized that we've actually become numb to it. We must be able to provide ample security to give people a peace of mind so they can gather without fear. And for these reasons, we urge a favorable report on House Bill 1243. And thank you so much for your time.
All right, are there any Delegate Conaway?
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Delegate, for bringing this bill. Thank you, witness, for coming in. To the Delegate what does a faith-based organization have to do to qualify for this fund?
I believe they just have to be a nonprofit.
And just apply, basically?
Yes, it's a grant.
What other types of nonprofit entities can apply for this?
Well, synagogues, mosques, churches, anything like that can apply and be eligible.
Can you go further than that, a little bit further than that?
do you know-
Any other organizations that are other than religious?
Sure, yeah, anyone's that are at risk of hate crimes, so.
What about the NAACP,
Yes.
something like that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I guess we don't have any other questions. Thank you very much. We do have 2 people signed up in opposition to the bill. Do we have Io Kamathi? All right, and then we've got Vince McAvoy. Yes, he is here. Okay. Io Kamathi, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Chair and panel, for hearing my testimony. I'm against this bill. I classify this now as, this is in a group of bills that I'm seeing that are very disturbing and concerning to me. I call them the Protect the Jew bills. There's a bunch of bills that don't specifically say that, but it's Jews saying, don't criticize Jews, and any criticism of Jews is hate crimes. This is where I have a problem with that. Criticism of Jews in the United States of America is called the First Amendment. And anytime you make the criticism of someone a crime, you are infringing dangerously close upon sedition. You're stripping, is this the United States of America or is this Western Israel? Now, as a black person, they talk about the gang issues that we have. I know that we have those issues, and I have to accept the fact that when people see it and it's harmful, they're going to have criticism of it. That's the reality of being in America. The problem I'm seeing here right now, Leo Frank, who was a rapist and murderer of a 13-year-old girl named Mary Fagan, raped her and murdered her and was found guilty and blamed the crime on a black person in 1913, is now in New York with a Broadway play being celebrated. This is America. The Leo Frank case led into the ADL going into opening up the Birth of a Nation, creating a movie that led to the second rise of lynchings of black people in the history of this country. It came from a movie that was done and financed by Jews to defend the rape and murder of an actual white girl, Mary Fagan. So whites were under siege and black people got lynched because of it. Now Jews in New York are celebrating this on Broadway, and if I say something about it, now they want to create a law that classifies that as anti-Semitic. It's civilized. And I think that we have to look at the fact that the reality is, and I'm wrapping up, but this is important. If we allow this here, yes, sir, I'm finishing.
You got to wrap up.
I'm wrapping up. But I'm going to say, the last thing I'll say is this same exact thing happened in the Bolshevik Revolution. You say anything about a Jew, the death penalty.
Sir, thank
and so
you.
we
We're
need to
moving
consider
on.
that now today. I'm against the bill. Thank you.
All right, Vince McAvoy, 2 minutes when you're ready.
Thank you so much, committee. I hope that you can hear me all right. I would echo some of the sentiments that we just heard, and I would take it beyond that, as you've heard me say in previous years regarding hate crimes in particular, all of them. These are first constitutional rights. That's why these bills typically fail around sine die, and they should. Enhanced punitive measures for a particular group is wrongful. It is what we call in law unbalanced scales, which is also biblical. We have an issue where we have a certain tier system. I also want to address, as I did in the Senate, the issue of where we should be approaching this. This is looking at particular slice-offs, cut-offs for particular people, and they're lining up and getting these funds. Would that we could all get these funds? Well, actually, we can. We have what we call law enforcement in Maryland. So where we have these problems, we assign these officers. This is a very simple notion. That's why we have law enforcement. And the idea of spending $6 million when we have Maryland State Police, cities have their municipal police, we have other county police in all districts. That's how this should be addressed. What I see rather is I see some of these bills brought, as you were just called out on it, that are ideological in nature, that are going for a specific niche and giving sort of grift. I know that we've had problems in Baltimore with respect to Christian or Catholic churches being attacked and nothing done. Nothing. No extra money, no extra help, no extra guards. Just, we got to deal with it. Just suck it up. Be a good Christian. That's wrongful, okay? And so what I say is the approaches of this bill and those like it are wrongful. Where we have problems, let's get police and let's find those people and take care of that issue. Very simple. I'm available for questions, committee. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Delegate Cardin, yes.
But I have to just ask. Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in to testify. Do you believe that a person should not, by force or threat of force, obstruct or attempt to obstruct another person's free exercise of their religious beliefs?
Yes.
Okay. Do you also believe that a person should not deface, damage, destroy, or attempt to destroy a person's real property or personal property motivated by their religious affiliations? In other words, because somebody is Jewish, that you shouldn't be able to deface or damage their property or threaten them or harm them in any way, simply because they're Jewish. Do you believe that?
I don't believe that Jews should be able to make that assessment because they're too sensitive.
Let me change the question.
Okay.
Do you think that you should be able to deface somebody's property or harm somebody or threaten to harm them because they're Catholic?
No.
Okay. Because they're Muslim?
No.
Because they're Jewish?
I haven't seen Muslims overly sensitive and classifying things that are not racist or abusive as being something racist.
Okay.
I have seen Jews doing that.
I think you answered my question. Okay. So should you be able to commit a crime or attempt to commit a crime or threaten to commit a crime against a person simply because of their gender or their race or their sexual orientation or their whether they are homeless or not?
I'm not familiar with anything like that.
Should you be able, simply because somebody's homeless, should you be able to threaten to assault them?
No, but if a homeless person is on my property, and I say, get off my property, my children are around, I
Right.
should be able to say, get off my property.
No, but just because they're homeless and they're walking by, should you be able to threaten them or harm them?
Because I don't know anybody would do that,
Okay.
but no, I guess
Because,
not.
because the person's a woman, should you be able to threaten them or assault them?
I don't think you should be assaulting anyone that is not committing a crime or doing harm to you.
Okay. All right. And even if they're Jewish, right, you shouldn't be able to?
Again,
Okay.
Jews have the traditional history, this is what they do, of making claims of being victims when they're actually, in many cases, victimizers.
Okay.
So it's a problem when Jews are the ones making these decisions because the only people that they're looking out for, like these bills, are only for Jews.
Got it. Thank you very much. I think you answered my question. Appreciate it.
Delegate Conway, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in and testifying. Is Mr. McAvoy still on?
Yes, Delegate, thank you.
How are you doing today, sir?
Very good. Good to see you, Delegate.
Can you explain to me what is an unbalanced scale biblically that you referred to, I believe?
Yeah, the idea is that there was a thumb pressed on one side of the scale. Pretty simple
Does
concept.
that come from religios, as in put the foot on the neck and the press?
Not to my understanding.
In this bill, would the NAACP, you think, would they be able to get security or something underneath of this bill?
So we know actually that this history goes back to.
No, I'm asking
I
about the
got-
NAACP. You're probably going to tell me about how Caucasian people were on the board originally.
No, Delegate,
and
don't
so on.
do that to
I
me.
just would like for
Look,
you to
you've known
answer
me a
the
long
question.
time. Don't do that to me, all
I'd
right?
just like for you to answer
I'm
the
talking,
question.
I'm talking about a Baltimore
Okay.
Sun.
All right, guys, I think we've had enough here.
All right.
I'm done with this conversation. All right, thank you very much. Are there any more questions? All right, that's going to end the bill hearing. Thank you, everybody.